Greetings. Good morning, everyone. I hope that your New Year's Eve celebration, if you celebrated your New Year's Eve last night, I pray that you all had a wonderful time. I pray that you all were safe. And it's not the natural new year, but it is the end of a calendar year. So it's still a really special time just to be able to kind of refresh and, re-intentionalize your year. So this week, I actually had planned on pulling some cards, but I had actually pulled the cards and everything, and I felt like I was needing to do something different or something more, and it really felt like I was needing to just channel the message and just let it kind of flow through. So this week, this is a very special message, and this message is geared towards everyone. So it's not going to be separated this week. This is for both family and, just general reading. So it's going to speak to everyone. So this past week, there was a lot around transition, transformation, and a lot of clarity. There was this real energy of clarity that kind of swept through last week, bringing knowledge that you either wanted or needed, whichever one. And it really allowed us to tap into our ability to connect with each other, with ourselves, to be able to redefine and to define, right? Because some of us hadn't defined it all, at least not consciously, what it is that we are creating and what it is that we're doing. And so this past week really brought those energies present. And we had just gone through, and I'm not just gone through like it's over, but this quickening started last week. And I felt the energy, like the week before. We talked about it during the reading for last week. But there's this quickening that's taking place. And so everything is manifesting so much faster. Things are beginning to take hold in ways that are blowing our minds, right? In part because of how they're happening, but also the timing. I think there's a lot of us that have been waiting for a lot of things. And so during this time, you can expect to see a lot of new manifestations, a lot of restoring. I'm really feeling when it comes to relationships, whether this be romantic or family relationships, there's going to be a lot of restoring energies. It's going to require that you have faith and that you move with from a heart space. But there is healing in relationships that's coming up for this past, this week that we've just had, but also for this period that we're moving into, this 2023 period. So it really is just a really magical time to be able to be present, set your intentions, and open your heart, because we have been in a space where we have had different things come up to bring up fear. We've had the different illnesses and the stuff with children, and do we need to put them in school? Do we need to do this? And what about work? And what about economy? So we've had all of these things taking place that bring up fear. But when we're moving from that space of fear, we're not really projecting the highest frequency of love, right? And that's where we're needing to shift our energies to, because it's like this time now, it's like that quickening has locked in. So the creations, the manifestations that you want to see take place or that you want to create, those manifestations are meant to come through your intention and through you following that intention with action. And action doesn't literally always mean physically you going out there and getting it, right? Because that's not everybody's way to bring something into the physical. Everybody's way is not to get out there and hustle, right? And that's the trend, right? They tell everybody that's what you do. You get out there, you hustle, you make your money, you get your bag. But that doesn't work for everybody, right? There are going to be some people that works for it, feeds them, is great, but that doesn't work for everybody. Everybody is not meant to do it in that way. It doesn't mean that they're not a go-getter. It doesn't mean that, they lack some kind of hunger for what it is that they desire. It just means that they're different and they're meant to do it differently. So allow yourself to feel whatever that doing thing is, right? Whatever it is, however it is that you are supposed to physically or on a more physical level help to bring this manifestation into the fullness. And really, for instance, if we're talking about, let's say, family relationships or romantic relationships, or, whatever kind of relationship, that's not necessarily always going to be a physical thing that you're having to do. Sometimes the thing that's needing to be done is the clearing of your heart and your mind so that you're ready for the relationship that you're asking for. And so sometimes that is the only action that's necessary. And you having an open heart, being willing to not only release, but to receive, right? Not just to give love, but to receive love. And, and I also feel like, there are going to be, we've come up on the end of a year. And anytime you are going through the end of a period, right? There are things that leave, there are things that are released, there are things that pass. And so we're going to be dealing with having loved ones and stuff like that who either have, are getting ready to, or will be very soon transitioning over. And so that can be a very difficult thing. But the message that I'm really getting is to make sure that we are the message that I'm really feeling is to make sure that we are holding them in that transition in a space of love. And that can be very difficult to do, especially depending on the circumstances and the relationship that you have. But it's important that we hold them in celebration, that we hold them in a space of love and a space of joy. Because these energies that are coming through are going to require that we be connected. And I guess that's part of the biggest thing that they've been telling me for the last maybe 3 to 4 weeks is to make sure that you are not turning away connection that's good for you. You know what I mean? Simply because maybe it requires a little bit of work. Maybe it requires 2 people be in a forgiving kind of space. Maybe it requires you putting yourself out there, or in whatever way you're taking some kind of risk, right? But it's worth it, because during this time that's coming up, you're going to need to be able to have those connections. You're going to need people. You're going to need people more than you need your job. You're going to need people more than you need the school system. You're going to need people more than you need any of these other things out here, because what things look like are going to shift. They're going to change. The requirements of people are going to change. And if you don't know how to have and sustain healthy relationships, you can find yourself having more obstacles than is really necessary. So make sure that you all are making those connections. You're healing those relationships. You're saying your piece. If you need to get something off your heart, you need to say something, you need to share something, you need to tell someone you love them, you need to tell someone you forgive them, whatever it is, you need to go ahead and do that. And I'm not saying that because everything's just doom and gloom and, it's just, everything's just ending. But this is one of the most major transformations that life has had. And people as a whole, right? Especially throughout this year, we've already seen it being rolled out, but you're going to begin to see it on a whole new level. There's a new time coming. It's a new time period, and so some of the ways of life that we had gotten used to previously, they're not going to be there anymore. Most of us, maybe all of us, and none of us here, walking, alive, breathing, talking, all those kind of things, has experienced this kind of transition and shift on such a major level. Now, we've all gone through major changes personally, right? But to experience this as a collective around the world, everybody being impacted by these energies that are coming through and the physical manifestations that come from these energies, right? Well, we could be talking about wars. We could be talking about lockdowns. We could be talking about any number of things in terms of how this energy manifests itself. But in that, like I said, you're going to need your connections. You're going to need to know how to network and how to get resources. You're going to need to know things. So as much as it may be difficult, take the time to really get what it is you need to get for yourself, for your family, for your community. And again, everybody's experience during this next season, this next year, it's going to be different. But excuse me, my daughter's playing with wipes. I know you're like, what is that crackling sound? She's playing with wipes. It's keeping her quiet. And she's actually got a birthday coming up. Her first birthday is in just a few weeks. So we've got a lot of celebration going on over this way. But anyway, so we're preparing for this new stage. So make sure that you all are opening your hearts. Make sure that you all are making your you're doing your networking and you're getting resources. You're stocking up on resources. You have multiple plans. For you have multiple plans for when things, or if we'll say if, right? Don't want to freak anybody out, but if it comes a time where maybe water and things like electricity or just your ability to go and move around and get things done is different. It's changed, right? You're not able to do them either the same way or just a complete and total transformation of what that experience looks like. Whichever you experience, this time is really meant to be like a, what is the term? Is it a page turner? I am not good with expressions. But if this is that time, right, then we already know that our lives are going to be going through transition. And whenever transition takes place, it's time to ground. It's time to get centered in our hearts. It's time to make sure that our minds are clear. Because when this kind of transition takes place, just imagine like a tornado comes through, right? You don't want to just be out there skipping through the streets. When the tornado comes, you want to bear down. You want to get somewhere where you're good. You want to make sure that you got the things you need and your people are safe. You want to do all those things. And so, same thing with this energy, right? We are going through a major, major, major transformation and transition. And most people are not prepared for what's getting ready to take place. Most people are going to miss it. They're going to miss that time where they could have prepared. And obviously, if you're meant to be, have whatever positive experience you're meant to have, that doesn't matter whether you have everything you feel you need or that you might need right now or not. You're going to be good. But still don't miss the point that there is a shift, a major, major energy that is coming in that is going to change how things look, how we feel about things, how we feel about connecting, how we feel about our future, and what it is that we want to do as a collective. And it brings with it a lot of beauty and a lot of blessings. Okay, so, excuse me, but it brings in a lot of blessings because we actually get the opportunity to be intentional, to make everything that we do, or the thoughts we have, the actions, the emotions we allow ourselves to really spend time in, right? If we align those things with what our intentions are, with what it is that we're wanting to see take place and the kinds of experiences we're wanting to have, you are amazingly unstoppable. Doesn't matter what energy comes in and what vibration it has. And the energy that's coming in isn't like it's some bad or evil energy. Don't get me wrong. It is just intensely powerful. And it doesn't plan on leaving any stone unturned. So, I say all this to say, I pray that you all have had a wonderful 2022, and not that every experience was wonderful through it, because I know my experience was never desired to be visited again in those ways. but I still received some really beautiful lessons in the ways that things manifested and the things that I learned. And they're priceless. So I'm very grateful for that. And as I'm going into this new year, it's a 7-year, and I feel that energy of spiritual alignment that comes with that 7 energy. I feel that that vibration of faith, of trusting, of knowing that when you were working with the spirit, things can happen in ways you never even thought. And so you can't even hold on to it like that, right? And that's what this year is bringing. It's bringing unexpected things. It's bringing things that you might not even realize that that's what it is until it's like, bam, right there in your face. Those are going to be the kind of experiences that we have as we are welcoming in, right? Because we want this change and this shift that's taking place, because on a bigger level, it's serving a bigger purpose, right? Even if some of those more personal experiences are, or even collective experiences, don't feel as great, right? But this transition and this energy can be welcomed in with our intention, with what it is that we see for ourselves, what we choose for ourselves. We welcome this changing energy in this new 2023 space, and we allow ourselves to flow and to trust this year. Make sure that you have your stuff in order. Make sure you're not just lost, floating around, right? You want to be intentional. You want to have some order and some structure, some discipline about yourself, because that's also important when we're talking about spirituality, because it's kind of like, your body. You have a spine, you got bones, you need that structure. You are a spiritual elevated being. You need the structure in the midst of all of that possibility, right? To help to give you that definition. It helps to make you unique. It helps to make you all that you are. That frequency of structure, that frequency of discipline, right? And so that's what we're being called on for this next 2023. Or for this 2023, because technically we're already here, right? This is the first. But for this year, that's what we're being called on to do, and a space to be in. And I have one more message that I want to share. Too, I had thought about it prior to, and as I was just taking a moment, watching my daughter and feeling the energy of what I've already shared. This message just came up, and we talk about the children, we talk about what's going on in the world. It's a lot going on. It's a lot happening in terms of harm coming to children, people coming up missing. Just is getting a little wild, and is getting, and it will be getting even more interesting. So make sure you all keep an eye on your children. Make sure you know what they're doing, where they're at, who they're with. Don't take anything for granted. Don't just assume that because they have a smile on their face. As you all know, if your mama was anything like mine, just because they have a smile on their face don't mean they're your friend. So remember that as you're dealing with people, with your children and stuff. Keep your children close right now. Keep your children close because there's some changes getting ready to take place. And though it doesn't have to be a negative thing, we want to be wise and use that intuition. And know that, just as much good can come from a space that so much evil can come from. And so knowing that we're using this energy for positive things, but there will also be other energies that use it in different ways. So make sure that you are doing your due diligence to hold down your spot, just hold your spot down with love and grounded energy and intention. Yeah. Be willing to connect. It's time to put all the extra stuff aside. People been fighting for I don't know how long with family members, men fighting women, women fighting men, children fighting parents, children fighting any and everybody else fighting it. It's insane. So at some point we have to say, let's stop the silly games and let's actually do something that's gonna really, really, really change what the future looks like in ways that we actually really want, right? Now, there may be some things that we don't have control over, but we can control how we connect and relate to each other. We can control the kind of experiences that we bring forward because of who we're choosing to be. And like I said, we are going to need each other moving forward. We're going to need each other. And you all may not hear that with this seriousness that is meant for you to hear with, but we're going to need each other. You're going to need to know how to connect. You're going to need to know how to talk to people. You're going to need to know how to work through problems and issues. And if you can't deal with working through somebody's stuff with, or not somebody else's stuff, but your stuff with somebody else, if you can't, if you're not there, you got to get there because you're going to need it. Not being able to express yourself, not being able to communicate, not being able to do any of these things, it's no longer going to be enough. You're going to have to learn how to do these things, or you're going to deal with things that are just unnecessary when you have a healthy collective around you. And everybody doesn't have a healthy collective around them. So I'm not saying link on to whoever is around you. Use wisdom, right? Use wisdom in that. And maybe it does mean that you're doing it on your own for a minute until you come into a collective. But the point is to be open to it. Be open to it because your tribe, your group, your folks, your family, your people, they will come. You open up the heart space and people will come. You cook some food and folks will show up. And that's how it works. So, I love you all. I pray that you all have set your intentions or setting your intentions. I hope that everyone is looking forward to what is going to be created, the kinds of new things that are coming into their lives, the old things that are leaving. And I'm excited to see what this year holds. It's going to be a really beautiful year. It's going to be a powerful year. It's going to be an unforgettable year. It's going to be a transitioning year, but it is going to bring so much magic and so much beauty. It's going to reveal so much. We've already been having it come out, so stay tuned because it's going to be even more stuff that comes out. It's gonna be good. Pull up your chair, pour your wine, get your snacks, whatever you do. And let's get to it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I hope that you all resonated with this message. I hope it wasn't all over the place. I hope you all are sitting somewhere, and regardless to where you were with this next year coming up, I hope that you all are feeling empowered. I hope you're feeling ready. Even if ready just means, hey, I know I need to do 3 things. Ground, get into that heart space, and use some wisdom. If you don't do anything with those 3 things this year, you are going to be set. Okay. So, Anyway, like I said, love you all. We will talk again next week, and or actually probably midweek sometime in there, because I kind of want to talk about something else, but we'll probably do that sometime middle of the week. But until then, make sure you all like. Apparently, Kylie has something she'd like to say. But until then, make sure you all like, subscribe, and follow. And we will speak again soon. Make sure you drop your comments. And if you want to book a reading or anything, all that information is down below. Bye.